Greetings and welcome back, gentles and ladiesmen, to another fan-friggin-tastic episodio of EXO Plays Spyro Enter the Dragonfly. The game, like, while people were fighting the revolution, they were thinking about this game. Like, if we fail, and we fail to become a nation of our own, then Spyro Enter the Dragonfly will never be made, and that's how the war was won. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But yeah, there are a couple of fun glitches in this game, and if you want to see some of them, I recommend, if you're not sick of me playing this yet, I did another playthrough of this game years ago on Game Mavericks. And that one's actually pretty funny, and it shows off some pretty fun glitches as well. Like one glitch where I went to that barn with the cows and the explosives, and like that part of the level had not loaded yet. Just like that, see? Like the part of the level has not loaded yet. And I don't really know why. Like I can see through the skybox and everything, but you know, the collision detection data is still there, so. You know, there is supposed to be a cannon around here somewhere. Okay, somehow that made the level geometry appear, so yeah, so that happened, and it happened inside the barn, and my brother made a witty comment, and if you've seen the Super Mario 3D World playthrough, you probably have a good idea of what kind of commentary. You know his shtick by now. So where is the cannon? There's supposed to be a cannon here that I can activate, but I can't seem to find it anywhere. Come on, George Bush.
Please, Spyro, save my cows.
There's supposed to be a cannon, and I don't know why it's not here. Like, what's going on? Maybe I have to go play one of the other missions for it to show up. Huh. Yeah, make sure to press Y or Z to get out of that menu, otherwise you're warping. You're warping, and you don't want that. Thankfully, we've already found all the gems, so I don't have to go all over hell for that, but still. But like I was starting to get at in the last part, Spyro Enter the Dragonfly, in my opinion, is actually a pretty alright game. Because, you know, I mean, of course it would at least be that, because it's the best game ever made. But, you know, a lot of people hate this game, and, you know, it's not like the game doesn't deserve that reputation in a sense, because it is, clearly they rushed it out the door. It was definitely not finished. But at the same time, I still have a lot of fun playing it. You know, because it's like there are games that I can play where it's like the game is technically good and well designed, but it's just boring as all hell. And I think, while Ocarina of Time is not the worst example of that kind of thing, it definitely was for me when I was playing it again. I was feeling a lot of that kind of stuff.
There's a space riptop holding that dragonfly hostage. If you activate all the platforms around the tower by jumping on them, it'll lower the tower down so you can rescue it. Attempt the trial of the platforms?
And, because, you know, there's always that eternal debate among people, like, which is worse, a game that is frustrating or a game that is boring? And, you know, for most of my life, I would have said that a game that is frustrating is worse, but more recently, I've had kind of a dramatic turnaround as far as that goes. Okay, come on. What the fuck, guys? I didn't mean to do that. Come on, Penelope. There. So what did I do differently that time? I honestly don't. Fuck.
Well, what do you know?
For all your fancy gliding, you ain't such a wonder after all. I've seen better wings on flying pigs. Attempt the trial of the platform?
Like, I don't know what to say about that. It's just, some of the dialogue in this game is actually pretty funny. Like, there's a couple of forced jokes, obviously, but then you have lines like that where, like, even though it's not really all that funny, like, just the way that the voice actor delivered it kind of makes it work. And, you know, that's definitely the case for a lot of Ripto's lines. Like, if it was anybody else besides Greg Berger, saying, "You aren't hired for your brains, you dinosaurian landmass. Keep on thinking and I'll put you back where I found you. Unemployed in molten crater and begging for work from nasty Nork." Now, back to what I was saying. Like, if anybody else had said that, it would not be funny. But because Greg Berger said it, you know, it was hilarious. Because he was just absolutely having the time of his life in the recording studio while people were making this game. And I have to appreciate that he looked at this script and said, you know what, I'm gonna give this my all. Because you gotta respect that, because, you know, there could be another universe where Spyro Enter the Dragonfly was more competently made, or where Greg Berger just didn't care, you know, and that's not a universe I want to live in, you know what I'm saying? Are you kidding me? Alright, we are gonna pause the timer, and I'm going to skip ahead to when I beat this, because you guys don't need to see me do this again. Alright, and we're back. I better restart the timer before I forget, because I've done that more times than I care to admit. And I can't see anything. But I managed to kill him. I shot him with electricity breath, and then that killed him.
Well, that's the spirit. Purple dragon sure has some spunk. Now, here's a dragonfly for you, son.
Hey, it's Rickshaw.
Shaw, Rickshaw, I'm from Japan.
Attempt the trial of the platforms?
Like, what's the deal with that fucking seam going down his face? Look at that. No, I don't want to attempt the trial of the platform. Oh, thank goodness. They actually kept that feature from Year of the Dragon. I'm surprised. By the way, you might have noticed that the minigame gates have kind of a long loading time to them. Yeah. I don't know what went wrong. These are DVDs we're talking about, but you compare this to Year of the Dragon, where you'd go through a minigame portal and then you just instantly load with, like, takes maybe like 3 seconds to load. Then you play this game and it takes like a minute. I swear. But it's amazing because this is the best game of all time, by the way. This game's just trying to teach me patience. And it should be appreciated for it. Never mind the fact that I am moving around right now without, yeah, and then that happened. Yeah, this game's kind of glitchy. But like I said, it's glitchy in the Sonic Adventure kind of way. Where it's just kind of like, you know, obviously this game did not have enough time to be finished. Like, this is an unfinished game we're playing. This is like a late beta at best. And considering that the worst glitches I've encountered so far are just kind of like Spyro's legs not moving, it's just like this you know, could be a hell of a lot worse is all I'm saying. So I think the only... God, I'm tired. The only thing I'm actually missing a couple. So I did the cow and we did platform painting. Oh, I know what's going on here. So, one of the dragonflies we're missing, you needed to talk to the farmer in the barn, and he'll just give it to you. That's something about Spyro 4 that you'll have to come to grips with pretty quickly. Is because it's like you think of the previous games, like in Cloudy Spires and Spyro 3, for example. Like the plot of that level is Rhinox have clogged up the weather machine, and your goal is to unclog it. So when you unclog it, it just automatically takes you to the NPC who asked you to unclog it, and then you get an egg for it. But in this game, they expect you to go back and talk to the NPC to get your reward.
Hey there, Dragon. Thanks for helping out this here farm.
Anytime, Farmer Bill.
Here, take this thingamajig. I was gonna use it in my new smoker BBQ for flavor.
Hey, it's Fiona.
Shrek. I don't know why I felt the need to say that, but I did. And that was probably the reason why that cannon didn't show up, is because I didn't talk to that guy. Now there's a cannon, and we can go ahead and talk to this guy at the front, and he will explain more.
Oh no, Spyro, the UFO that took the cows is back. It's gonna steal my cows again.
What can I do to help?
We've set up some cannons just in case they come back, but we don't have any way to power them. Maybe you can help us power them with your lightning breath. Just make sure you activate the cannon when the UFO is nearby.
So this is kind of a Bombo the Flag Keeper type mission. You know, the problem with Bombo the Flag Keeper is that it kept making you backtrack through parts of the level, which is why it's probably one of the worst missions in Spyro 2, but and this kind of reminds me of that just a little bit. It's not as backtrack heavy. Like, problem with the Bombo the Flag Keeper is that it subscribed to the Conker's Bad Fur Day school of difficulty, where, you know, making it harder just involves adding an extra step to a series of tasks. Like, every time... Wow, this guy is dead. Look at that. Like, he's turning to face me, but he's not doing anything. He's like in a T-pose. I'm surprised he even animated when I hit him. I mean, that's just another reason that this game is brilliant, because reasons. And I fell. But yeah, so that's what Bombo the Flag Keeper was like. This isn't like that. It's not gonna force you to keep redoing chunks of the level over and over, except it gets slightly longer each time. But it is like Bombo the Flag Keeper in the sense that it requires you to backtrack through a stage you've already played. So I don't know, because like I said, you really should have just gotten that Dragonfly automatically when you opened the door. Because that's how it would have worked in the first 3 games, and if you played those before, that's just what you would expect. I don't think most people would think to talk to Farmer, whatever the hell his name was again. As you can see, it's keeping at a near consistent 60 once you kill a bunch of enemies and lower the, you know, payload, so to speak. So that's just kind of how the... Oh, that's right, there's gotta be a cannon around here. Yeah, there's the UFO up there. And it is the same UFO from the minigame, so I think that's what it's supposed to be. So I know at a bare minimum you need to talk to the guy next to the explosives. I don't know if you need to play the other minigame in order to make this guy show up. But after you shoot him enough, he will die and release the last Dragonfly in the stage, so yeah. Let's see. And there's the next cannon. And I don't really have anything else to say about this level. I mean, when I played this on Game Mavericks, I think the consensus Eric and I came to is that this level is kind of dull. And it kind of is. Like, yeah, so we managed to destroy the thing, and then we get a Dragonfly for doing it. And we have completed the stage. Love that sound effect. Are you kidding me? Look at this. I'm not looking for these glitches, folks. But it's just kind of like... Yeah. Let's see, go ahead and kill that chicken. Yeah, that's all I've got for this stage. We've collected everything, so let's go ahead and head back on over to the Dagron realms. Those load times, though, just fan-friggin-tastic. But yeah, so might as well get back to my long-ranging story discussion that I still have not finished yet. So Sorceress was, I thought, an improved villain over Ripto. And surprisingly, as heinous or blasphemous as some Spyro fans may consider the following statement, God, what is going on there? I think Ripto is actually a lot better in this game than he was in Ripto's Rage. Because for one thing, like I said, he's hammy as hell and I can't get enough of him. But for another thing, he actually affects the plot. Thank God! Like, as opposed to the second game where all he does is lock himself up in castles and just do nothing the whole game. In this game, everything that's happening in the levels is his fault. Because he has an army, for one thing. For another thing, the cause of the Dragonfly's disappearance, that was him with his spells. He cast the spell that scattered it, which put the Dragon Realms in danger, and he invaded with his Riptocs, who are causing trouble in all the levels.
Yay! You got enough Dragonflies to get the boat up and running. Hop aboard.
Yeah, and... I mean, it's not like Ripto's a perfect villain. Like, there's a serious shortage of cutscenes with him, I think, is part of the problem. And one thing I will give Spyro 2 credit for over Spyro 3 is that in terms of chemistry between Spyro and Ripto, that was like the one thing they really nailed in Spyro 2, with just some of the dialogue exchanges. And yeah, if that's something people liked more about Spyro 2, I would agree with them on that point. But in terms of how Ripto affected the plot, he was barely a thing. Like, he just, it made it to the point where, like, when you beat him at the end, it just felt like another thing to tick off the list. It's like, why couldn't Ripto have been behind the Breeze Builder, Land Blubber rivalry? Why couldn't Ripto have been the one who unleashed the Yeti in Colossus? Why couldn't Ripto have been the one who set off the volcano in Megmacone? It's like, that's how it should have been. And thankfully, that's the approach that Enter the Dragonfly takes, is that Ripto's Riptok minions have invaded Lua Island here. And the plot here is that those pig guys are afraid for their lives because they're afraid they're going to get eaten by the dinosaurs, who are the Riptocs, obviously. So by playing the level, you are rescuing the pigs from the Riptocs, who are here because Ripto sent them. So you can see where I'm going with this, that Ripto has a much better presence in this game. Like, you feel like everything you're doing in these levels is somehow contributing towards defeating Ripto and recovering the Dragon Realms. Those two things feel connected. Playing a level furthers a plot, as much as each level has its own plot, you know what I'm saying? And that's what Ripto's Rage should have been. And it's one of the biggest missed opportunities, because it's, you know, I talked about this more in depth in the Ripto's Rage playthrough and why I think it matters despite this being a platformer. Because, you know, story matters more than you might think in these platforming games. Because, you know, it's not like I'm going to say that Ripto's Rage is a terrible game just because I have criticisms of the plot, but it's just like, when Enter the Dragonfly does something better than you, then you know that you screwed up at something. So that's all I'm going to say. Speaking of which, another reason, one thing that I really hated about the first three games is that there weren't enough holes in the geometry where you could see through the end of the side of the level. So one thing I really appreciate about Enter the Dragonfly is the fact that it keeps you on your toes by putting holes in the level.
Hey, it's Gary.
So, yeah. So yeah. That's kind of something I've had in my chest for a while, just like, you know, because it's just like all the way back when I was playing Spyro 2, I was thinking about, you know, how I would address that point in this playthrough. It's like, maybe some of you thought I was kidding, but no, I really do think Ripto is better in this game.
Thank you so much, Spyro. I just couldn't have handled being eaten for dinner.
No problem. I'll keep a nose out for your friends. I think I can smell them roasting off in the distance. Just kidding.
So that was a very Spyro thing to say just now. Because like I said, Spyro never in the previous games never really interacted with the NPCs much. Like, unless if it was like a cutscene in the hub world or something. By the way, those tikis are ripped straight out of Idle Springs from Spyro 2. Like, they literally just brought back the same tiki design and everything, so... Yeah, this level's kind of a tribute to Idle Springs in a way. It's... one thing I did want to say is that I actually do think the level design of Luau Island is actually pretty good. Like, the level design in Spyro Into the Dragonfly is not that bad. The levels in this game are well designed. I mean, they're a little bit long-winded, and they have a couple glitches, like that gem just phased through the floor just now, I'm pretty sure. But, you know, like, you know, in terms of how the levels are laid out and the beats you go through, there's some good platforming in them. I mean, they're not... Because it's like, as much as I like the slower, the fast pace of the first 3 Spyro games, it did sometimes feel like levels went by just a tad too quickly in terms of the main platforming stuff. So I'm glad that Enter the Dragonfly takes a, you know, obviously the reason why the levels are so long is because the game was rushed.
Get me out of here. Please get me out of here. I heard a Riptalk talking about sausages.
Sure. What can I do?
Hey, there's a button on the cliff. All the way over there.
Wow, they literally they forgot to have the guy record the line. So they just had one of the devs speak the line into a microphone on their desk.
I think there might be an underwater cave somewhere around here.
Wow. Like, you know, it's not like Insomniac never had any recording flubs. Like, if you listen to some of the dialogue in the Spyro 2 scenes where Ripto is like, I convinced that fat bear Moneybags to sell me a few bomb. Like, that happens, and then the sibilance and all of the dialogue was, like, really loud. Stop fidgeting, Hunter! And it's like, every time she does a puh sound, it, like, explodes in the microphone. And then there's that part in Spyro 2 where you meet Agent Zero, and he's just like, and then he's like laughing at the end. And then you can hear the recording director going, great, in the background. So it's not like they never screwed up in the previous games, like Spyro 2 especially, but still, that was pretty bad. That's like Sonic 06 levels of stupid. By the way, the pigs make professor noises.
Spyro, I heard you on the island, but I didn't believe it. You gotta help me. One of the Riptalks keeps calling me ham sandwich and asking me if I'd go better with mustard or mayonnaise.
By the way, I'm pretty sure that those pigs are voiced by Billy West. Like, if that isn't Billy West, then it's a hell of an impression. And yeah, like I was saying just now, like if you listen to those pigs while they're standing next to the door, they'll just go, no, no, aha! And that's literally the voice, the lines that the professor would say in Spyro 2 and Spyro 3. Like, we'll listen to him for a little bit. Yeah, so you guys could take my word for it. But yeah, that is all the time we have for this episode. I kind of went a little bit longer just because I wanted to keep on my train of thought, but yeah, we will hit this switch and continue the level in the next part.